Hi everybody, welcome back to day 3 of our dragon eye. This is where we're headed by the end of the week. I started by looking at some things off the internet, pulling up some pictures of lizard eyes or reptile eyes and printing them out, or you could have them on your phone. And then we started to draw our eye. So I have the eye and I have 2 different patterns surrounding that eye. And today I'm going to add a third or maybe a 4th pattern. So remember I said that you could look at the eyes for inspiration or you could just make things up. So on this one, I put triangles around the eye. There really wasn't any picture that I saw that had triangles. I just liked it because I really like triangles. So I think I might actually do that again, but instead of triangles, I think I'm gonna do big scallops like this and then maybe put a little circle in it. Remember that dragons are pretend, so we can do anything we want. So I'm gonna run out of space over here. See if my other marker's working any better. My Sharpies are all kind of on their last leg because I use them all the time around here. So I think I'm just gonna squash in these kind of half circles on this side. And then I'm gonna squash it in where that wrinkle is and add another line there. So there's that. I think instead of a circle, I'll just repeat the half circle shape just to kind of accentuate it. And as I'm doing this, I think it would be fun on the top. I don't really have room on the bottom, but on the top, I think I'm gonna do a little triangle shape in between, just to kind of really accentuate that top, show it off a little bit, draw your attention to the top because that's where the eyeball is. And then there'll be a little bit going off the side. And then I think I'm gonna go for a very large size scale on the opposite sides. So I did circles on this one, so I think I'll do more pointy shapes on this one, almost like triangles. Again, I'm just making things up. I'm using my pictures for inspiration, but I can do what I want because this is just a make-believe animal and because I'm the artist. Don't worry when you run out of space like this. Just keep going right off your page as if the design continues. I'm going to repeat it on the other side in the opposite direction because that's what's happening in my photographs that I have of my lizards. Does anybody have a lizard out there? My girls never wanted a lizard, and I have to say I was pretty thankful because I'm not really a lizard in the house kind of person. I think they're amazing to look at, but I can't say that I would really want to own one. And now I have some spaces left over in the these 2 spaces. So I think I'm gonna take the pattern that I did here, this kind of, I call it the pebble pattern, and just do it a little bit larger and maybe not quite so perfect circles. I'm gonna kind of wiggle them a little bit as if it's blobs of jello or melting, I don't know what, melting something. Just so it's a little bit different than those other ones. And I think it looks a little bit more natural when it's a little wiggly. Anyway, and then I'm gonna repeat it in this little wrinkly. I'm gonna make my wrinkled a double thickness line here so it doesn't get lost. I think I'll do that same with here because it's kind of getting lost. And that's another trick that you can do. We talked about using different scales or different sizes to separate things, but just doubling the line, a lineup can also help. So I have one more pattern. So tomorrow we're going to start adding color. We're actually going to do kind of some layering with color. So that's why I'm starting it tomorrow, because we're going to kind of do color for 2 days. And I'm going to show you if you want and if you have them to include colored pencils. I'm not getting as wiggly on these, am I? It's hard to talk sometimes and do art. Did you ever notice that? Some people can't do both at the same time. But if you're a teacher or you want to be a teacher, you kind of have to learn how to do that, because most people need directions. And if you just draw and don't give directions, they're not going to understand everything. So if you have colored pencils, you can get those out for Friday. You could also use regular markers too for Friday's little coloring part. So go ahead and get the rest of your dragon drawn. And I will see you back here tomorrow for part 1 of our watercolor